Welcome to our episode of Reach Minds Thoughts for Your Life Journey podcast. In today's episode, we will be talking about loss and grief we feel and experience when we lose a beloved pet. Losing a beloved pet is a deeply painful experience. We miss their companionship, their presence, and them being part of our daily rhythm in ways that many people outside of the bond may not fully grasp. Along with the grief and loss, we may also feel gratitude of having this beloved pet in our world. This probably is a topic that many of us probably struggle to grasp and understand. Yet, it is such an important part of our whole life when we lose a beloved pet. Now, my journey starts with losing our 12-year-old moggy cat, Smokie, quite rapidly a week ago. Now, Smokie came into our world when my husband and my daughter went into the pet shop just to have a look and fell in love with this beautiful little grey-white creature with wide eyes and her playfulness. Without giving a second thought, they decided to bring her home. And so we've had Smokie in our home for the last 12 years. From day one, Smokie has always been an independent cat who has stood up for herself against the other cats we've had and against our dog we've had. And if she didn't like what was happening around her, she would let you know. Smokie, though loving, did things in her own terms and told us in no uncertain ways if she wanted our attention and wanted us to focus on her. Now, we weren't strangers to cats. Smokie was our sixth cat. And we knew a little bit about having cats and their different kind of personalities and how they navigated the household, which sometimes had more cats and now only had one cat when she arrived. Smokie, in many ways, was a quirky cat. She terrified our cleaners by swiping them if they got in her way. And often I would be sitting in my office and I would hear one of the cleaners screaming. And of course, I realized it was Smokie holding fort and saying, "Get these people out of my way." The other quirkiness that Smokie used to have is she loved being on the banister. That was her domain. She loved sitting and watching the other cat or the dog below her. And she looked as if she was on top of the world. The other thing Smokie often used to do with all of us is attack our feet. And even at the times of scratching them. In fact, until the day Smokie died, her bed was a cushion on top of our linen basket out on the landing. So when she didn't want to disappear under some nook and cranny, because sometimes we couldn't find where she was, and she had such flexibility in her body that we used to go, "Oh my God, how did she get into that space?" And sometimes that space was very tight. Even though we've had other losses of our other cats, losing Smokie has felt hard at times, painful. She wasn't just any cat. She was a part of our family. And what I will say is that now that she's gone, we each feel the waves of her sadness we feel the empty space in the various parts of the house where her food was, where her litter tray was. And there still is a reminder and a disbelief that even though she's no longer physically here, we can still imagine her walking through quietly in her own way to come and sit with us in the television room. Of course, there are at times in remembering her, I feel guilty because I often used to say to others, Smokie is such a low maintenance cat. She wasn't fussy about food. She didn't fight with the other cats or dog. And she held her own. She wasn't much of an outdoor cat, but she went enough to the garden and decided to come back. And as I said, Smokie very much held her own. And sometimes I wonder if I'd noticed earlier that she wasn't, I wonder if she would still be around. And yet at the same time, I know that when she got diagnosed with a heart condition, we fully went into overdrive and made sure that she had her medication. And boy, she wasn't an easy cat to give medication to. And I often used to go, yeah, I've won, because I mixed it in her food and she ate the food. In many ways, Smokie and I did do some battle around her food, her medication. But I know in the end, her body gave way. And seeing her in such pain and struggling, that we had to make a tough decision to have her put down. And I didn't expect it would hit so hard, because she wasn't just another cat. She was part of our family. And the other thing that we did differently from our other cats is this time we decided to have her be put down at home, because we knew that the journey to the vets would have caused her more angst and more pain. And what we wanted to do was to make her life easier and to invite the pet and witness her being there with us and seeing her pass in a beautiful, calming, yet painful journey. Now, I would say losing Smokie is akin to losing a family member. The heart aches, the chest tightens as grief takes hold. Just because she's an animal doesn't lessen the grief and the pain and the loss. And in fact, over the last week, I have felt, and we have all felt, in our own different ways, the waves of emotions that have come. And sometimes they have caught me by surprise of this enormous grief that often takes hold. This empty space, a reminder of where her things used to be, in her favorite place. And at times I only expect to walk into the room and sit with us. Yet what I feel is silence of that empty space as she's no longer here. At other times, I feel gratitude, honored in having her in our world and for giving us laughter, joy, and total amazement of her quirkiness, her little idiosyncratic ways of doing things. Now, maybe many people listening to this may say she was just a pet, and retort to them would be, this kind of grief is real and valid, even if society doesn't always fully acknowledge it. There's a beautiful poem by C.S. Lewis called A Grief Observed. No one ever told you that grief felt like fear. I am not afraid, but the sensation is like being afraid. The same fluttering in the stomach, the same restlessness, the yawning I keep on swallowing. At other times, it feels like being mildly drunk or concussed. There is a sort of invisible blanket between the world and me. I find it hard to take in what anyone says, or perhaps hard to want to take it in. It is so uninteresting. Yet I want others to be about me. I dread the moments when the house is empty. If only they would talk to one another and not me. The other thing I'd like to share is an experience by Gita Patel of losing her moggy cat, Nina. Gita, what was it like for you seeing Nina pass?
Having a furry animal brings so much joy and unconditional love to you. I had a cat one day and she was here, and the next day she was gone forever. I never thought taking my cat to the vet for a small operation meant she did not return to my care the same day. And this was hard, and as a result, grief has just lingered on. Seeing her blanket every day and that she slept on, her toys, her beautiful green eyes, and always on her back with her legs in the air. The house just feels very empty, and I feel sad most days. And I call out to her, "Where are you, Nina?" No response, as my logical side says to me, she has gone. But my heart says she very much remains there. I miss her. I miss Nina every day, my little furry companion.
Now, in honoring Smokie, we like to celebrate her in many ways. And these are just some ways that we celebrate her and her quirkiness, which is the habit of her sitting in a tray or on my husband's desk or walking from the screen when there was a Zoom call. Her fondness for swiping feet with her paw. And she also used to come and sit on me in the middle of the night if her food bowl was empty. Or she often used to come and sit at the bottom of the bed and occasionally nibble my feet. Now, Smokie loved us stroking her. However, when it got too much for her, she would just snap at you. Despite the fact people say cats can look after themselves, Smokie loved having company. Our company, I should clarify. Because when it came to others being in our house, you wouldn't see sight or sound of Smokie. And when we had a cat sitter at home, she told us Smokie appeared on the fourth day of her looking after our dog and cat. And it was only when Smokie felt confident that this person was okay that she turned up to greet her. And as I walk around the doors in our house, particularly the bathroom or my bedroom or my workroom, I can see the marks of her scent that Smokie has put on those doors. And they will be there forever for us. I want to thank Smokie for choosing us, for the paw prints on our floors, on our carpets, and our hearts for joy and laughter she brought us. I know it's okay to grieve, to remember, to cry, to laugh, and above all, miss her. Whilst at the moment seeing the empty space feels hard, I know in time that space will always be yours. Because love never dies, it just purrs from the other side. Smokie passing was beautiful, and in remembrance of her and other furry animals who have passed away, we summon it up in this beautiful poem. She padded in the gentle pause, a quiet heart, a love so pure. She found in you her forever home, the sunlight on an empty chair, the quiet rush, the space now bare, and the love like hers will never fade in cherished memories softly laid in your heart. Though loss may weigh upon your chest, her spirit lingers free and blessed. A bond like this is so deep, so true. She lives in love. She lives in you and in all forever. Thank you. If you're interested in working with me, connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or www.nitasharma.com. And if you enjoyed the podcast, why not consider subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you have access to your podcast, and leave a review.